We had a very rainy week, which everyone living here on the island is quite happy about, since starting in May there won't be much rain until November. This meant that my children and I spent a lot of time indoors, doing some seasonal crafting projects. But we also managed to get some gardening done, planting lavender, something I've always wanted to have in my garden, as well as sowing some calendula and chamomile. It's also been a week where I was kind of forced to slow down due to a nasty back injury and some horrible pain, which made me realize once again how important it is to listen to my body. This wasn't the first time I felt slowed down by my body and was challenged to honor my own limitations. In the past, I've been quite hard on myself, pushing myself to do more and faster, even when my body was already giving me clear signs to stop and slow down. I've made several videos about how I'm trying to live in a way that embraces my nature as a highly sensitive person and how I'm wired on the rather anxious personality side. Accepting my personality often means that I have to take extra care not to overwork or overdo things. It's a constant balancing act, but one that is so important for my overall well-being and thus for the well-being of my family. And while today I see my sensitivity as a gift, since it allows me to feel and connect deeply, it also means that I need to be especially mindful of my own boundaries to prevent burnout and emotional exhaustion. Over the course of many years, I've come to understand that being an anxious person doesn't necessarily mean that I'm broken or fragile. There is certainly that aspect of trauma in experiencing anxiety, but there's also a very different side to it. Anxiousness in its best form means that you care deeply, that you care what happens to you, to the people around you, what happens in the world. As a highly sensitive and anxious person, I am able to feel compassion and empathy on such a deep level that it can be overwhelming at times. At times, I struggle with the idea of limitations. I tend to feel guilty for needing space, for not being able to juggle everything with ease, and for not always having the energy to meet every need placed on me. Especially in motherhood, I find that there's an unspoken expectation that we should be able to handle it all. We're supposed to be nurturing, energetic, and ever present for our children and family. But for someone like me with heightened sensitivity, this can quickly become a recipe for emotional overload. My sensitivity means that when I pour my heart into my family, I feel everything, sometimes to an intense degree, and that requires me to pause, reflect, and take care of myself. For a long time, I thought that if I wasn't constantly giving, I was failing somehow. But I've come to realize that honoring my limitations isn't a sign of weakness. It's a form of self-respect and simple necessity. And ever so slowly, I am learning that it's okay to say no, to step back, and to allow myself the time I need to recharge. What's been most freeing for me is realizing that by honoring my own limitations, I'm actually setting a healthier example for my children. I want them to grow up knowing that it's okay to feel deeply, to feel everything, and if needed, set boundaries. When they see me taking care for myself and allowing myself to feel, they're learning that their own emotional needs are valid. They're learning that it's okay to ask for help and that we all have limits and that there's no shame in that. I've come to understand that honoring my limitations isn't a weakness. It's an act of self-love. It's about accepting and embracing my true nature as a highly sensitive person by listening to my body and soul, respecting my boundaries, and knowing that I am enough just as I am, and so are you.